Oh, hello there. I'm Bilchan.
I'm Nimakung.
I'm Chan.
In this class, I'll read to all of you. Chapter 3, Section 1 of Jane Eyre, an Autobiography.
As.
Ah.
Jane Eyre, an Autobiography. Charlotte Brontë. Chapter 3, Section 1. The next thing I remember is waking up with a feeling as if I had had a frightful nightmare and seeing before me a terrible red glare, crossed with thick black bars. I heard voices, too, speaking with a hollow sound, and as if muffled by a rush of wind or water. Agitation, uncertainty, and an all-predominating sense of terror confused my faculties. Ere long, I became aware that someone was handling me, lifting me up and supporting me in a sitting posture, and that more tenderly than I had ever been raised or upheld before. I rested my head against a pillow or an arm, and felt easy. In 5 minutes more the cloud of bewilderment dissolved. I knew quite well that I was in my own bed, and that the red glare was the nursery fire. It was night. A candle burnt on the table. Bessie stood at the bed foot with a basin in her hand, and a gentleman sat in a chair near my pillow, leaning over me. I felt an inexpressible relief, soothing conviction of protection and security, when I knew that there was a stranger in the room, an individual not belonging to Gateshead, and not related to Mice Reed, far less obnoxious to me than that at Abbott, for instance, being I scrutinised the face of the gentleman. I knew him was Mr. Light. An apothecary sometimes called him by mice when the servants were ailing for herself and the children she employed a physician. Well, who am I? He asked. I pronounced his name at the same time and he took it, smiling and saying, "Shall do very well by and by." Then he laid me down and, addressing Bessie, charged her to be very careful that I was not disturbed during the night. Having given some further directions, he departed to my grief, while he sat in the chair near my pillow, door after him. All the room darkened and my heart again sank, sadness weighed it down. "Do you feel as if you should sleep, Bessie?" rather softly. Scarcely dared I answer her. Sentence might be rough. "Would you like to drink?" "No, thank you." "Then I think I shall go to bed." O'clock, wonderful sensibility this. It emboldened me to ask a question. "Bessie, what is the matter with me? You feel sick, I suppose. The red room was crying. You'll be better soon." The apartment, which was near, I heard her. "The Sarah with me in the nursery, poor child tonight. She might die, have that fit. I wonder if she saw anything." Her, they both went to bed, they fell asleep. I caught scraps of their conversation, able only too distinctly to infer the main subject discussed. Something passed her, dressed in white chamber jury light in the churchyard just over his grave, and see, both slept at the fire and the candle went out. For me, watches of that one. Night passed in ghastly wakefulness ere I, mind were like strained by dread, such dread as children only can feel, severe or prolonged. Bodily illness followed this incident of the red room, my nerves a shock of which I feel the reverberation to this day. This, my street. To you I owe some fearful pangs of mental suffering, but I ought to forgive you, for you knew not what you did, while my heartstrings, you thought you were only uprooting my bad propensities. Next day by noon, I was up and dressed in a shawl by the nursery hearth. I felt physically weak and broken down. But my within was an unutterable wretchedness of mind kept drawing from me. Silent tears from my cheek, then another followed. Yet I thought have been happy, for none of the Reeds were there. Going out in the carriage with their mamma. A bit too. In another room, and Bessie as she moved hither and thither. Waiters and arranging drawers of unwonted kindness. Of peace, begging. But in fact, state that no comfort could soothe. And no pleasure excite them agreeably. Been down into the kitchen is certain. Brightly painted china plate, whose bird of paradise wreath of convolvulent rosebuds, enthusiastic sense of admiration to take in my hand in order to examine it more closely, always hitherto been deemed unworthy of such a privilege. Placed on my knee to look up straight upon it. Vain favour. Coming, deferred and often wished for, too late. I could not eat the tart, and the plumage of the birds, the tints of the flowers, strangely faded, but both plate and tart away. Would have a book, the word book acted as a transient stimulus. I bid her to fetch Gulliver's Travels from the library, again and again. Perused with delight. I considered it a narrative of facts, tales. For as to those, leaves and buds under mushrooms and beneath the ground ivy mantling old walnuts, had at length made up my mind to. The sad truth thicker and the population more scant, whereas the lippet and brobdignant being in my creed, solid parts of the earth's surface, I might one day, by taking a long voyage, eyes the little fields, houses and trees, that diminutive people, tiny cows, sheep and birds of the one, brown breast height, the mighty mastiffs, the monster cats, the tower-like men and women of the other, yet my hand in. I turned over its leaves, charm I had till now never failed to find a wizardry and dreary. The giants were gaunt goblins, the pygmies malevolent and fearful imps, a most desolate wanderer in most dread and dangerous regions. I closed the book, which I dared no longer peruse, and put it on the table beside the untasked tart. Bessie had now finished dusting and tidying the room, having washed her hands. She opened a certain little drawer, shreds of silk and satin, and began making a new bonnet for George in his doll. Meantime she sang. Her song was, in the days when we went gypsying, I had often heard the song before, and always with lively delight. Bessie had a sweet voice, at least I thought so, but now her voice was still sweet. I found in its melody an indescribable sadness. Sometimes, preoccupied with her work, she sang the refrain very low, lingeringly. She passed into another ballad, this time a really doleful one. Feet they are sore, and my limbs they are weary. On is the way, and the mountains are wild. The path of the poor orphan child, so lonely, piled. Men are hard-hearted, poor orphan child. It distant and soft the night breeze is blowing. Clouds there are none, and clear stars beam mild. God, mercy, protection is showing. Orphan child, in should I fall, the broken bridge passing, or stray in the marshes by footlights beguiled, stole all my father with promise and blessing. Child, there is a thought that for strength should avail me, though both of shelter and kindred despoiled. Heaven is a home, will not fail. Nay, come Miss Jane finished. She might as well have said to the fire, how could she divine the morbid suffering to which I was a prey. The course of the morning Mr. Lloyd came. Then, what he, as he entered the nursery, well, nurse, I was doing very well. Then she took more cheerful. Come here. Miss Jane, your name is Jane. Yes, well, you have been crying. Miss Jane Eyre, can you tell me what about? Mum. Or out with Miss in the carriage, interposed Bessie. Surely not. Why so too, and my self-esteem being wounded by the fuss? Charged promptly, I never cried for such a thing in my life. Going out in the carriage. Oh, fie, said Bessie. The beard a little puzzled. I was standing before him on me very steadily. His eyes were small and grey, not very bright. But I dare say I should think them shrewd now, hard-featured yet good-natured looking. Face. Having considered me at leisure, he said. Had a fall. Said Bessie, again putting in her word. Fall. Why? That is like a baby again. Cash she managed to walk at her. I was knocked down, was the blunt explanation, another pang of mortified pride, but that did not make me ill, I added. Well, Mr. Wood helped himself to a pinch of snuff, returning the box to his waistcoat pocket. Dinner, he knew what it was. That's for you, nurse, said he. You can go down, Bessie would rather have stayed, obliged to go because punctuality at meals was rigidly enforced at Gateshead Hall. Full did not make you ill, what did? Then, pursued Mr. when Bessie was gone, I saw Mr. Time. Goes to what? You're a baby after all. Of Mr. Reed's ghost I am. He died in that room. There. Neither Bessie nor anyone else will go into it at night. If they can help it, nonsense. Miserable? No. But night will come again before long, unhappy, very unhappy. What other things? This question. How difficult it was to frame any answer. Children can feel, but they cannot analyze their feelings in thought. Words. Fearful, however, my grief by imparting it. I, after a disturbed pause, frame a meagre though. As far as it went, true response. One thing I have no father or mother. Again I paused, bunglingly announced. What? John Reed knocked me down. Mr. produced his snuff-box. Don't you think Gateshead Hall a very beautiful house? Asked he. It is not my house. Certes, to go I should be glad. To leave it, perhaps you may, one knows. Have you any relations besides? Myself think not, I don't know. I asked Aunt. We'd once, poor, the relations called Eyre, if you had. Such, I reflected. Poverty looks grim to grown people still. More so to children, not much idea of industrious working. Respectable poverty, where it only is connected with ragged clothes, scanty food. Foul disgrace, manners, and debasing vices, poverty for me was synonymous with degradation. No, I should not like to belong to poor people, was my reply. Head, I could not see how poor people had the means of being kind, and then to learn to speak like them, to adopt their manners, be uneducated of Gateshead, no. Price of cost. What are your relatives so very poor? I cannot tell. Aunt Reed says if I have any, they must be. I bigly sat, again I reflected. I scarcely knew what school was. It is a place where young ladies sat in the stocks wore boards and were expected to be exceedingly genteel and precise. John Reed hated his school and abused his master, but John Reed's tastes were no rule for mine. Where she had lived before coming to Gateshead was somewhat appealing. Certain accomplishments attained by these same young ladies were, I thought, equally attractive. She boasted of beautiful paintings of landscapes and flowers by them, executed songs they could sing and pieces they could play of purses they could knit, of French books they could translate as I listened. Besides, school would be a complete change, a long journey, an entire separation from Gateshead life. musings. Well. Who knows what may happen, said Mr. Lloyd as he got. But he added, speaking to himself. Bessie now returned. The carriage was heard rolling up the gravel walk. Is that you, Mr. Eyre, Mr. But Bessie invited him to walk into the breakfast room, though. Way out, in the interview which followed between him and Mice. Wait, I presume from after occurrences sent to school, and the recommendation was no doubt ready enough adopted, as a bit said, the nursery. One night after I was in bed and thought, asleep, Mrs. was, she dared say, rid of such a tiresome, ill-conditioned child, were watching everybody and scheming plots. And but I think credit for being a sort of inventing guy. Fox. On that same occasion I learned, for the first time, from Miss Ibbott's communications to Bessie, for there had been a poor clergyman wishes of her friends who considered the match beneath her, which was so. Irritated at her disobedience, he got her off without a shilling. That, after my mother and father had been married a year, his curacy was situated, and where that disease was then prevalent, mother took the infection from him. Mother, Bessie, when she heard this narrative, sighed, and said, Jane is to be pitied too. Ace responded, but a nice pretty child, one might compassionate her for Linus. Deal, to be sure, agreed Bessie, at any rate. He is dote on Miss Georgiana, cried the fervent Abbot, her blue eyes, and such a colour as she is, if she were painted. Bessie, so could do with the roast onion, come go down. They, and to be continued.